Tamil Nadu, through all of you in the media, as well as, of course, my friends the delegates. I had thought we would meet them first, but since you are all here, we will speak to you, and then any delegates who wish to have a private word, we can talk afterwards. I am here in Chennai as part of my electoral campaign to seek the support of Congress Party delegates for the election that will take place on the 17th of October to the presidency of the Indian National Congress. I first of all want to congratulate the Congress President, Srimati Sonia Gandhi, and the Congress Working Committee for having had the imagination to announce an election for this position. And all of us congressmen are proud that we are the only party in India, the only political party, to conduct such a democratic exercise in order to elect our leadership. I also want to congratulate and thank the many Congress workers who have come to greet me at the airport, to accompany me, to garland the statue of Rajiv Gandhi, the man who built the bridge, India's bridge to the 21st century, and then came with me to the memorial for the great Kamaraja, who did so much to transform Tamil Nadu after independence, or Madras state as it was then called, when he brought in major measures of rural development, electrification, education, and the midday meal scheme, all of which were then adapted and developed by subsequent chief ministers and have become hallmarks of Tamil Nadu's great success as a state that is truly one of the most developed states in India. I want to say that having done that, I went to a very different audience, and that was Iit Madras, where I had the great pleasure of an auditorium full of over 1,000 students and faculty, and a lively exchange, including on the question of whether IIT students should enter politics. And I told them, yes, they should, because we need all kinds of people and educated, of different kinds of educational backgrounds in politics as well. And from there, I have come to see you all, principally, of course, to reach out to the delegates who are present here. But because the notice is very short and the entire campaign is over in another 10 days, I'm also hoping to reach them through all of you, through the media. And the message to them is very simple. I'm here to fight for a strong Congress party that can take on, that can face the formidable machine of the BJP in 2024. We all know that the Congress party has been through a tough time in recent years. We lost the elections of 2014 and 2019. But let us not forget that Mr. Modi only won 31% in 2014 and 37% in 2019. He does not represent a majority of the voters of this country. And the Congress party, with its long history of giving leadership and inclusive vision to the people of India, the Congress party must be made ready to take on the challenges of this very, very formidable opponent. I am not going to minimize the challenge, but I am going to say I have great faith in the Congress party and in my fellow Congress workers who are all here, many of whom are here, and who represent the spirit that has kept the Congress party alive in Tamil Nadu and in many other parts of the country, even in the face of adversity. Let me say that this is not a battle between rivals. Mr. Kharge is a respected senior of mine. I consider him a friend. I'm proud that he considers me a friend. In fact, when he recently turned 80 a couple of months ago, he invited me to author a tribute to him for a volume of commemoration of his birthday. And I was very happy to do that, because I'm proud of all that he has achieved over the years, as a leader of his region, of his state, and of the nation. He has not only been somebody who won 9 MLA elections in Karnataka, he has also won 2 Lok Sabha elections, but he has led the opposition first in the Lok Sabha, where I worked very closely with him from 2014 to 19, and subsequently in the Rajya Sabha he is now our Congress Party's leader. So he is a very respected elder of our party, and I see him with great regard and affection. But though it is not a quarrel between rivals, though it is not an ideological battle because we all share the same ideology in the Congress Party, it is a friendly contest between different approaches as to how to take our party forward to face the BJP most effectively. As you know, I believe we need to reform the way our party functions. My message to my voters and to everyone else who works for the Congress Party is contained in this manifesto, copies of which are available, and more copies will be made available. It's also available on the internet. It was released to the media the day I filed my nomination. And in this manifesto, which we've also summarized in 10 points, we have some very basic but very strong ideas for our party. We want to revitalize our Congress, first of all, by rejuvenation. We want to bring in young people and give them real authority. But at the same time, we must give greater respect to our hard-working and long-serving workers, karyakartas as we call them, who are serving the Congress without enough acknowledgement and reward. So we need to honor those who are working now, and we need to bring in more people to join them and help them. Second, we must decentralize the organization. The message of the Congress Party must be that we are strong at the lower levels, that at the levels of the grassroots of our party, the booth, the mandala, the block, the jilla, that there too people have authority, that with their appointments they are able to make decisions, that they are not in a position where all decisions are made in Delhi and conveyed down to them at the bottom level. That change is very important to empower the party workers who are the lifeblood of the Congress Party. Third, I have talked about the importance of reimagining the role of Aicc headquarters. We must try and give different functions. I don't believe, for example, that PCC presidents should have a general secretary for a state sitting on top of their heads. I think the general secretaries can do very useful work on a nationwide basis. I think PCC chiefs, once appointed, should be trusted to fulfill their mandate effectively, and what is more, they should be given a free hand to run the party effectively. Similarly, we must have term limits. Nobody should serve indefinitely in any job. In my own state, I know there are cases of Mandalam presidents who have been Mandalam presidents for 28 years. That is unfair to them, and it is unfair to others who would like to serve. So we need to change that. We want to reiterate the core convictions of the party. We are the party of inclusive India. We are the party that believes strongly that it doesn't matter what your caste is, what your religion is, what your language is, what your region is. If you are an Indian citizen, as in the great constitution authored principally by Dr. Ambedkar, if you are an Indian citizen, you have the same rights as every other Indian citizen. There is no question of anyone being oppressed or discriminated against or suffering because of their caste, their religion, their language, their region. This is the inclusive India of the Congress Party. This is the idea of India we've always stood for and fought for, and we must repeat that and reiterate it to leave no one in any doubt. We must broaden participation in the party, and that means we need to revive some of the institutions provided for in our constitution. The Congress Party has a very good constitution. It provides, for example, for a parliamentary board, but we've not had one for over 20 years. It provides for 12 members of the working committee to be elected by the members. That has not happened for some time now. It provides for other kinds of institutions within the party which I would like to revive. And I have pledged to the young people in the party that I will implement the commitments made in the Udaipur Declaration earlier this year. Under the Udaipur Declaration, we have promised one person, one post. We have promised term limits for party positions, which I mentioned. 50% of all Congress tickets for those under 50 years of age, and increased representation for women, for youth, for SC/STs and minorities and OBCs in our party. All of this is to broaden the base of the party and strengthen it. We want to reinvigorate election management, make it more professional, and we want to name our candidates at least 3 months before the election and not at the last minute as has been our practice. We want an increased focus on youth because youth are actually the owners of this country. 51% of India is under 25. 65% is under 35. This is already young India. I want Congress to be the party of young India. And for that, we must give Indians and young Indians more responsibility. So that is a very crucial role NSUI, Youth Congress and others will play. We want to have a bigger role for women. And that is something very important. In the organization that I founded and led for the last 5 years in the Congress, the All India Professionals Congress, we have a rule that in every chapter and every state, whether it is a president, a vice president, a secretary, the three positions, one of the three must be a woman, compulsory. It can be more than one, but if there is not one, then we don't approve the chapter. We don't approve the state leadership. We must have active representation for women. We want to have more outreach to industry and professionals. We need to involve them in the work of the party. IT professionals, for example, very important that they feel they have a stake in our party and we look after them. But also other kinds of professionals. For example, when the demonetization came and then GST was implemented so badly, what was the impact on the textile industry in Tamil Nadu? Our professional congress did a study, talked to workers, talked to managers, and did a paper which made a big impact on studying the impact of demonetization and GST on textile industry in Tirupur. There was an example of how we show as Congress that we care for every industry and every profession. And finally, the 10th point is to return to the ethos of politics as social work. What do I mean by that? A party is not only a machine to fight elections every 5 years. A party must live amongst the people. Our party workers must help and serve the people. And I can tell you I've seen it happening successfully in my state, where you will find very often that, for example, some poor old lady, maybe she's not well, maybe she's illiterate, she doesn't know how to fill in an application form for a BPL card or a ration certificate, the Congress worker will go and help her. Somebody else, their home is broken in by a gunda, but the local police will not take a complaint because the gunda is connected to the ruling party. The Congress worker will go there, give us some help, call people like the MP, in this case me, and say, can you go above the level of the local station, talk to the police commissioner to make sure action is taken against this fellow because he's harassing people in this area. That kind of thing is what I mean by politics as social work. We have to be connected to our society. We have to show once again that we are with the people, we care for the people, we work with the people. That again is an indispensable thing in the Congress, and we will in fact train our workers through extensive training programs to remember all these elements that I have mentioned to you. I want to say that popular connect with people is fundamental, and it's being illustrated today by the amazingly successful Bharat Jodo Yatra undertaken by Rahul Gandhi. I have marched with him. I was with him in Kanyakumari when he started. I have marched with him in Kerala for 3 days, and I can tell you the enthusiasm, the support that people have shown is amazing. 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, people are coming and they are hailing Rahul ji. They want to see him, they want to applaud him, they want to support the Congress party. We want to show we are with the people, as I said, in every way. And the Bharat Jodo Yatra illustrates our commitment to do that. Broadly speaking, this is the message. Revive the party, re-energize the party, empower the workers, decentralize authority, be in touch with the people. With this, I believe we will be a fighting fit political machine to take on the BJP, take on Mr. Modi in the elections of 2024. So I'm going to pause there, and if you have any questions, there's a lot that I haven't said. I'll be very happy to address with your questions. We're looking forward to this election on the 17th of October in this very PCC headquarters. Thank you all very much. Jai Hind and Jai Congress.
Any questions, sir?
I would say the press can ask, but also any Congress worker or delegate who wants to ask can also ask. We have no secrets to hide here.
Yes, sir?
Yeah. We want it at all levels. We would like the booth committees to be empowered. We would like a Mandalam president to be connected to his people. We want the block presidents to be accountable to the Mandalams. We want a system where everyone is working with everyone else. Rahul Gandhi always says there should be more conversations amongst us. There should be more discussion amongst us. I want to see that happen. Yes.
Very few delegates present here, in the sense that attending this meeting could be seen to be antagonizing the Gandhi.
Well, I've been told there is such a statement going around in Tamil Nadu. I'm glad you asked the question because I would like to dispel that impression. Not only did I see Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi before entering the race, but they all said to me that there would be no official candidate, that they themselves are neutral, and what is more, that they encouraged me to contest because they believe that a contest is good for our party in the country. Rahul Gandhi said to me, 10 years I have been asking for an election. I'm so glad one is happening now. That is the message that has come from the Gandhis. So it is unfortunate that some people have taken it upon themselves to doubt the word of the Congress president and the Gandhi family. To me, that is an insult. I believe they should respect those who have led the party for 25 years, and they should say, when they say that this is a completely free and fair election, they should behave that way. But sadly, it is true, some people do seem to have been spreading the word that attending any function involving me would somehow be seen as a negative. And I want to assure you all that not only am I saying this, on the strict instructions of the Congress President, Mrs. Gandhi, the Chief Election Authority of the Congress Party, Shri Madhusudan Mistry, has said this openly to the delegates and to the press. Not only is there no official candidate, he said if anyone says that there is somebody who is backed by the High Command, he said it in Hindi, he said, "Ye baat sahi nahi hai." This is not true. And he said it twice. So what more can we ask for? What is more, Mr. Mistry has also made it clear that to ensure that the election is free and fair, that he is going to ensure a totally secret ballot. There will be a serial number on your card to get the right to vote. But when you vote, there will be no serial number on the ballot paper. It's a secret ballot. When you put the ballot into the ballot box, at the end of the voting day, in front of the election agents of all the candidates, of both the candidates, the box will be sealed. And the seal will bear the signature of Mr. Mistry, nobody else. That sealed box will be taken to Delhi. All the boxes will be opened in the presence of the candidates and of the election agents. And all the votes will be mixed together before the counting starts. So no one can say so many people from Tamil Nadu voted for so and so, and that is good or bad. So many people from some small state where there are only 50 votes voted, so the PCC chief must have helped. Whatever it may, nothing can be said like that because no one will know who voted for whom. So with that, we expect a truly free and fair election. And I do know that some people have given a misleading impression. So I am told, and I've been told not once but many times, that some senior office bearers have misbehaved in this way. I would say it is unfortunate. I would say they should know better, that they have actually misbehaved in misrepresenting the declared position of the Congress President and the Gandhi family. And I believe that is most unfortunate, but as far as I'm concerned, I believe Sonia Gandhi, I believe Rahul Gandhi, I believe Priyanka Gandhi, and I believe Madhusudan Mistry. And I'm going ahead. One more question. I'll come to you next. Let me finish.
There was a time when the Congress ruled Tamil Nadu, and now for several decades, the Congress is being called the eternal right name. Can you share the kind of roadmap you have in mind to strengthen the party's history?
Look, we have a very successful alliance right now with the DMK and Mr. Stalin. And I don't want this election to be any excuse for jeopardizing any of the current arrangements. Let us continue to do our work. I have, in fact, as a Congress ally, called on Mr. Stalin during my last visit to Chennai. We have good relations with the DMK government. My party colleagues all maintain cordial relations, so let us not go there. The Congress party has done well in elections in Tamil Nadu. I think we won 8 Lok Sabha seats out of 10 we contested, or is it 9?
Yes,
9. We contested 9, 10th in Puducherry, and we won 8. So that shows you the Congress party is a good ally and also a popular ally. And I'm very proud that many of my parliamentary colleagues from Tamil Nadu have been very effective in the Lok Sabha. And I do want to see more representation by the Congress, but that also depends on good relationships with our ally, the DMK. And I'm not saying anything. The present arrangements are working well. They should continue. Yes.
Mr. Tharoor, you said.
Sorry, this gentleman asked first. I'll come to you next. Yeah.
I had one question. Before that, I wanted to say I'm a big fan here. And
Thank you.
It was actually the second time I'm seeing you in real life. First time was in 2010 when I was in 10th standard. You came to Kuwait for my school's anniversary. So I saw your tweet and I thought, okay, it's a good opportunity.
Pleasure.
And I'm from Kerala and I work here and I live here. And I'm a voter here. So I'd like to support individuals as yourself. I'm not very well versed in Indian politics, but there are like 2 policies that I care a lot about. And I just want to know your positions on them. One is ranked choice voting, and the second one is universal basic income.
Universal?
Basic income.
Income, yeah.
So your opinion?
So ranked choice voting is what the Congress party uses for the presidential election. Had the third candidate not been disqualified, as you know, there were 3 candidates who filed nominations, and the third one, his papers were not found to be in order. Otherwise, had he also been in order, then the voters would have been asked to write number 1 and number 2 against the 3 candidates' names. So it would have been ranked choice voting. So the Congress party has supported that for its own elections. When it comes to national elections, this would require a consensus with other parties and a proposal by the Election Commission. So we have not got there yet. At the moment, the parties who are in power tend to like the system that brought them to power. So I don't think we are likely to see a change in the system yet, but it's certainly an idea that could be discussed, particularly as Indians have become more and more literate and numerate. The ability to write a number against a name is surely available to the vast, overwhelming majority of the electorate. It is certainly worth considering. Thank you for the suggestion. On the second one, universal basic income is an idea that the Congress party has studied. We believe that our poor should not be abandoned, should not be left without resources, and that is why in the 2019 election, Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party came up with the idea of the Nyai Scheme, which is the idea of a basic income, not entirely universal, but for those below the poverty line. Because as a budgetary matter, we did not believe it would be possible at this stage with such a large country and a fairly modest tax base to provide an income even to Mr. Ambani and Mr. Adani. We would have to have a universal basic income for the poor. So roughly up to 20% of the families in this country would have received, under the Nyai Scheme, a basic subsistence amount which was being calculated by the Congress party at that time. I won't mention numbers because numbers can change with time. But the concept of a basic income for the poor has been endorsed by the Congress party, and we call it Nyai, Newton Antim Yojana.
What about Abhijit Banerjee's idea? When he got the
Abhijit Banerjee.
Nobel Prize for Economics, Abhijit Banerjee, where everyone gets, I believe it's 660 rupees per month.
In a developed country, that would be more feasible because the government would have that much of money. But even so far, in every developed country, they haven't gone that far. So I'm just saying the idea is excellent. We should create ideally a society where no one is in want, no one should ever starve or suffer, no one should have to worry about medical treatment. There should be a fair society. That's our dream. But, beg your pardon?
Bureaucracy, who decides who deserves what? Like if universities income was there for everyone gets it. And economists have already brought up these ideas. So why are we now thinking is it feasible or not? He got the Nobel Prize for economics for it, but our news media was saying that.
I see. I would love to pursue this conversation with you further.
Yes.
I've given you the answer I can, and there are journalists whose job it is to answer. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Mr. Tharoor, you say that the Congress presidential election is a healthy competition, but it looks bitter on ground. There are no senior leaders from TNCC who have come to receive you.
There's at least one general secretary sitting next to me.
There are a few people who have come here, but does that disturb you? The kind of attitude that is shown towards you?
3 general secretaries are sitting here.
Yeah.
So I said at least one because I wasn't sure.
The TNCC president is unable.
No, I had spoken to the TNCC president, and it is with his blessing that this facility has been made available. There has been a directive given by the Aicc under which all candidates are to be given the same treatment and the same facilities. So all I can assume is that there was no convenience. I must admit the notice has been short from our side because we wanted to cover as many places as possible. We started immediately the day after the nomination. In fact, when the news came that the scrutiny is over and our forms have been accepted, I was already landing in Nagpur to start the campaign. So we have given everyone very little notice. For me, the message applies to all, leaders as well as workers, ordinary delegates as well as general secretaries, as well as MPs and MLAs. And don't forget that in the Congress election, each person's vote is worth the same. Whether a general secretary votes or a new delegate who's a humble party worker, it is worth the same one vote. If the president votes or the president doesn't vote, it's one vote at stake. So I appeal to everybody equally. Secondly, because of some of this messaging that the other journalist asked about, it is possible that some people have been reluctant to come forward openly under the mistaken impression that this would have negative consequences for them in the party. But in many states have told me and my colleagues who are working with me that they understand the importance of this election and that they will not be open, but they will be supporting me when it comes to voting. So I am saying to those who are worried about all of this, don't worry, I am not worried. I am just as confident as I was and as I would have been if there had been 5 leaders here. But I believe that ultimately the voices we are hearing from the ordinary delegates, the ordinary party workers, who have, many of them have felt disempowered in recent years, is that they want a change, and the change will have to come, they feel, from me. And I'm very happy to represent that change. I might add, it is not a change